COVID, like all viruses, replicates. One of them becomes 2 and 2 becomes 4. And there's an awful lot of replication going on out there because there are literally millions of people infected. And as that replication occurs, it generates the occasional mutation. And sometimes those mutations in the DNA will ultimately lead to a change in the behavior of the virus and make it either more infectious or more pathogenic, in other words, cause worse disease. The global pathogen analysis system was an idea that came out of our recognition that variants were going to happen. They'll be happening globally. Some of them will be significant and some of them will be less significant, but we need a way of tracking those, and we need a way of tracking them on a global basis because, as you may have spotted, the variants to date have come literally first recognized on different continents. As the variants appear from around the globe, we need to be able to find them quickly, work out whether we think they're significant in the sense that they might produce trouble for the vaccines or might be more pathogenic. And as a result, we can then be able to make new vaccines or be able to control the pandemic or monitor the extent to which they're spreading around the globe. So the first step in that process is you've got to get a lot of places all over the world sequencing the virus.
The Global Pathogen Analysis System, or GPAS, is a tool that assembles, analyzes, and reports on bacterial, viral, fungal genomes that allows you to mine that data and determine various characteristics.
It's the IT tool that will allow people to do the analysis of the variants, do it quickly, and assemble a database globally so that we can track and monitor how the virus is changing over time.
This is something that is achievable now, but requires a huge resource to do that. Mostly people, but also substantial computer resources. When the opportunity came to host this on the cloud, develop the software, and produced automated processes for doing this, we grabbed it with both hands.
We met together with the Oracle team, who we'd been talking to for some time, about the idea of using their cloud as a place to drop these sequences from countries all over the world so that they could be analyzed in the cloud. Data could go back to the people who generated them, but also would create a database so we could all see what was going on globally. They had made a very generous offer to provide the software development to allow this to happen at scale. And we've been working on it ever since.
A big challenge for the world is that the surveillance is not homogeneous. It is good in some places and very poor in others. And to understand a virus that's everywhere in the world, you want to get insights on it everywhere. And there are many, many blockers to that. It's incredibly important to have shared data and people to be willing to share data so that we can understand the totality of the outbreak every single day as it evolves, as it changes, as it moves around the world, that enables countries and also major agencies like the World Health Organization to develop policies and strategies for containing the pandemic.
What we just have to avoid is people stealing healthcare data, which is something that, of course, Oracle does all the time because they have one of the most secure clouds. In fact, arguably the most secure cloud on the planet. So that makes them a very good partner for this.
The next big blocker is to be able to take that information, analyze it, and reveal the nature of the virus lying under that genome sequence. And that analysis is going to be massively enabled by GPAS because it's going to mean that the same quality, the same standard of processing and analysis and reporting can be achieved everywhere in the world. There's a whole wide team backing up this process, and within the services that are developed are the means to analyze all the data that's being shared. And from that, you're able to identify emergent new strains, such as variants of concern, and track them over time and space, namely across countries. And this is highly, highly valuable to public health agencies in their effort to contain the outbreak.
We really believe in this idea that it should be people should own their data. So, and the way the cloud is structured is people own their data. And you could own it as a scientist, you could own it as a country, you could own it as a region. But you also have the freedom to share it with everybody else, in which case there is a large data set which everybody can work on together. And it was that sense of sharing that we thought was really important if we were going to do this going forward.
One of the crucial aspects of this is that we're developing it for SARS-CoV-2 initially. We'll next deploy it for TB, and then we have a plan to progressively make it available for many other pathogens of infectious disease importance and public health importance.
We thought that what the world needed was a single solution to this problem, and that's why we set about doing GPAS. It's a powerful combination of the best IT with the best molecular microbiology. Oracle's cloud is very much a global cloud. You know, they've got touch points across the world, and they've also spent a lot of time in ensuring that it's secure and you can be sure that your data is your data in the cloud and nobody else is going to get access to it.
What this offers, one, is the opportunity to change the whole paradigm of diagnostics and develop approaches that massively strengthen and enable both infectious disease management and public health control of infectious diseases.
In the short term, we're all worried about COVID. There is a formal possibility that we're not at the end of this thing yet in terms of the development of new variants and the pathogenicity of those variants. And the ability to manage that by knowing what's happening rather than not knowing what's happening is a really crucial piece of the puzzle. I think there will be a huge interest amongst the scientific community to look at the data. But to be clear, we're not building this as a toy for scientists, we're building it as a tool for public health.
The results generated by GPAS can clearly help you better treat infected patients by helping you choose the best antibiotics. It can certainly help you identify outbreaks and implement interventions to control outbreaks. And thirdly, it gives you a deeper biological understanding of microbes that allow us to design better vaccines, design better drugs, and better manage infectious disease globally. And this is going to be transformative to the world.
The big advantage of the GPAS system is that if it contributes at all to containing COVID-19, reduces the length of the epidemic, allows us to manage variants when they occur, reduces the amount of transmission in populations, it's going to have a massive impact on everyone. We need to get back to something which is much more globally integrated, where people work together to try and solve the problem together. And this is a very important first step, because a global data set is the first step in getting the world to work together to try and solve these problems. So I think it's got wider implications than just identifying a few variants of concern.